Dag sê dankie en welkom by nog 'n uitsending van Kletskompas. Vandag is donderdag die 14de Mei 2026. My naam is Krige en ons het 'n vol program vir u, baie belangrike onderhoude wat ons kollega Irene van der Walt daar in Suid-Afrika by Landbou opgeneem het, insluitende 'n onderhoud met Suid-Afrika se landbouminister John Steenhuizen. Maar voor dit sal ek nou net bietjie die nuus bespreek en natuurlik is daar nog veel anders elders hier vir u beskikbaar. Bly by ons hier op Kletskompas.
Namibia is a land of movement, with waves that never stop reaching forward. Here, adventure is not something we search for. It is something we are born into. In every corner of this country, creativity rises, from artists, from athletes, from dreamers. And when the world comes to explore Namibia, they discover something extraordinary. Because when sport moves people, creativity moves ideas, and tourism moves the world toward us. Something powerful happens. A platform where movement meets imagination, where industries connect, where opportunity grows, where Namibia's next chapter begins. Welcome to the Creative Sport Tourism Expo. Exhibit, partner, experience. Creative Sport Tourism.
Welkom terug, kom ons loer bietjie wat het môre se Republikein daar vir julle in terme van nuus te bring. Ons staatspasiënte ly onder 'n tekort van beskikbaarheid van medisyne en ons eie verslaggewer Tiemo Haidula het daar gaan ondersoek instel. Die ministerie van Gesondheid erken dat daar 'n tekort is. Sy het onder meer met die woordvoerder Walters Kamanya gepraat en hy het gesê hulle poog om die stelsel om die beskikbaarheid van medisyne te monitor, te verbeter, om op internasionale vlak vinniger medisyne te verkry, maar wanneer hierdie oplossings in plek gestel gaan word, kan hy nie sê nie. Intussen het sy gepraat met spesifieke pensionaris wat nou al maande van bakpoort na stuurpoort gestuur word. Haar dogter gaan dag na dag daarna Windhoek sentrale apteek om te hoor of die kroniese medisyne wat haar ma broodnodig het beskikbaar is. En later het die dogter besluit sy skryf 'n openbare brief na die ministerie om te kla oor die situasie. U kan natuurlik in môre se koerant meer besonderhede daaroor lees en uitvind wat die stand van sake is. Daar is ook 'n baie interessante berig in môre se koerant in verband met hierdie week se besigheidsberaad tussen Namibië en die Europese Unie. Daar was baie belangrike aankondigings daar gemaak en u kan daaroor lees. Een van die aankondigings is groot belegging in die verwerking, die ontginning en verwerking van lithium saam met Andrada. Maar die klem is beslis nou om weg te beweeg van loodsprojekte en van planne en om die klem te sit op die bou van fabrieke, van nywerhede en om werksgeleenthede te skep en om uitvoere na Europa te versterk en te vergroot. Europa is natuurlik een van Namibië se grootste handelsvennote en u kan baie gerus daaroor lees in môre se Republikein. Welkom terug. In Suid-Afrika is daar die jaarlikse groot landboubyeenkoms Landbou aan die gang en ons kollega Irene van der Walt is daar. Sy stuur vir ons hierdie onderhoude. Een is met Suid-Afrika se landbouminister John Steenhuizen en ook met die voorsitter van Graan SA, meneer Krige, en later is daar ook 'n onderhoud oor back and closure medisyne wat sy vir ons bring. So kom ons luister noukeurig en kom ons sien wat hulle te sê het.
Yeah, thanks everybody, and baie dankie vir almal wat hier is. Thank you for everyone that's here. The media play an incredibly important role in getting information out to the ground. Obviously, in the current world environment, there's a lot of disinformation and misinformation and fake news that does the rounds, and that is why the traditional media formats are so fundamentally important to be able to get the facts out to our farmers, our farm workers, and the agri sector on the ground. So never underestimate the hugely important role that all of you play in that. Obviously, the grain sector is in a tough space at the moment. We talk about peaks and troughs. You obviously need to find ways where government and the sector can work together to navigate the troughs and then maximize the benefit for our agricultural space on the peaks. Currently, we're facing a number of challenges, both with government processes, with weather, but also global pressures that we've seen taking place with the closure of the Strait of Hormuz, which was already exacerbated a really difficult situation following the Russia-Ukraine war, where huge constraints on our input costs for our farmers have been really massifying over the last number of years. The droughts we've seen in parts of the Southern Cape, the too heavy rains and wash away in other parts of the country, and now I'm told locusts in Colesberg. I'm waiting now for the plague of frogs next. So all of these things put huge pressure on an already febrile situation, which is also affected by global pricing as well. And we mustn't underestimate the elements of overproduction in a certain part, hemisphere or country, and the impact that has on the pricing that farmers receive here. So Graan SA play an incredibly important role because they have a direct line into the ministry to be able to raise issues of concern in the grain sector. I think it's also important why I come to Nampo every year. I think this is my 8th Nampo that I've been at. It's important to be able to come and hear firsthand from farmers, but also from organised agriculture, and Graan SA plays an incredibly important role there in plugging in and being able to make sure that the concerns of the grain sector are heard directly, loudly and clearly, and in Richard's case very loudly, and in Tobias's case even louder, in the ministry. But that's their job. Their job is to be in my office, saying to me, Minister, these are the things that are worrying us, these are the things we think need to be done, and it's my job then to take that and try and turn it into some form of policy or intervention. So this really does, to me, indicate one of the special things about South African agriculture, and it's just how organised it is. Having travelled to a number of other countries around the world, I'm yet to find a grain representative organisation that is as professional and assertive and plugged into the situation on the ground as Graan SA. And it also, I must say, helps me tremendously to be able to pick up the phone from the ministry side, to be able to speak to Richard and to Tobias around figures, stats. But what they also play an invaluable role doing for us is helping direct us to markets where there's a potential for South African agricultural exports. Remember, exports are fundamentally important for us because that's where the premium is obtained for many of our farmers. So the markets that we can open, working in conjunction with the sector, are fundamentally important to the long-term profitability, viability and sustainability of the grain sector in South Africa. So it is through Graan SA that we were directed to Japan. So there's an opportunity in Japan. I've been there just 2 weeks ago. We've had another engagement with Japan. But there are so many other markets where there's huge potential for South Africa, in the ASEAN region, in South Korea, and many other places where we can open up opportunities for South African farmers to be able to do that. And then, of course, it's about getting the balance right between exports, imports, managing local food security, and trying to deal with some of the frustrations. So the wheat tariff remains a major frustration for our farmers on the ground in the sector. It takes too long for the tariff to be set, and as a result of that, our wheat farmers particularly are at the mercy of the ebbs and flows of international pricing and markets. And that's a real intervention we could be making in South Africa to just help our farmers get just that little bit further through the trough that we're currently going through. And then obviously when we have the peaks, the bumper harvests, it's finding markets for them where we can maximize the price for our farmers to succeed. So I'm always grateful to be here, and I'm always grateful for the invitation. And I'm really grateful for the constructive and I think very good working relationship between the ministry and Graan SA. It's not to say they don't give me a hard time, but that's their job. And it's important that they keep the pressure on the ministry so that their organization and the members of Graan SA realize they have a valuable asset in Graan SA that is able to make sure that their views, opinions, and feelings and ideas are articulated at the highest level. So of course, it's never going to be it's not a fairy tale story, and there will obviously always be a need to come into the minister's office and bang your fist on the table, but it's done in a constructive way, and I'm very grateful for that, because they keep me on the straight and narrow, especially Richard and Turbis. Thank you.
Van julle landbousektor, ek dink vir julle land is net so belangrik, maar ons moet kyk na die hele SADC situasie, die vloei van grane en produksies tussen, ons moet mekaar ondersteun in terme van markte opmaak. Daar's genoegsaam vir ons almal. Ons produseer almal 'n wêreldgehalte produkte wat in aanvraag is oor die wêreld. En die ontwikkeling van daai markte en die ondersteuning, ek dink is wat die sleutel tot sukses gaan wees, om mekaar te ondersteun. Ons is wel in kompetisie, maar is ons tog in kompetisie met mekaar? Ek dink die oorsese markte het voldoende ruimte vir ons almal om daar kompeterend teen mekaar te wees in ons landbou te laat doen.
Ja, ek dink dis dieselfde soort ding wat ek wou sê, om saam te werk as binne die SADC gebied om meer geleenthede te bou vir die hele gebied van SADC. Dis dieselfde ding wat ek sê altyd vir ons rooi vleis produsente. As ons saam staan en ons werk met hierdie regional approach om back and close te hanteer, dan kry jy die geleentheid vir die SADC gebied meer kans om uit te voer binne Afrika, maar ook buite Afrika om saam te werk. Maar ook om te help met voedselsekuriteit binne die SADC gebied, waar daar's erg produksie in een deel van die SADC, daar's 'n hulp dan. Die ander groot ding is om saam te werk om die vervoerstelsel te verander, om te verbeter. Hoe kan ons uitvoer binne Afrika op paaie en spoorweë, maar ook hoe kan ons saamwerk om ons hawens beter te maak, om 'n beter stelsel te bou vir uitvoer van ons produkte. Ja, daar is 'n bietjie tensie altyd tussen die twee lande, en ons gesien dit met ons varsgroente en alles, maar ek het vergaderings hierdie jaar gehad met die minister van Landbou binne Namibië, en ons het 'n paar dinge uitgesorteer, en ons het nou die kommunikasie wat nodig is, en hulle het vir ons gesê dat 30 dae 'n notice period vir ons voor hulle grense sluit vir produkte, en dit maak dit makliker dan om saam te werk, om seker te maak dat die landbousektor doen goed in al twee van ons lande, en ons is deel dan van die oplossing van voedselsekuriteit, uitvoer markte te kry binne die SADC gebied.
As government got a role to play, and we're in constant conversation where we can develop new markets, as John's mentioned, move the stock, bring the market back into balance, help with the pricing, but also improving road infrastructure, ports, etc., to enable us to move the stock. The role players in the industry input and output side and the whole value chain need to pull together to get this crisis. And the message that we'd like to bring to you as well is stronger unity, not only in agriculture, but in all role players in South Africa in terms of agriculture. Every individual in this country is affected by agricultural production, accessibility and sustainability in terms of pricing and food security, and this is important. It's the backbone of the economy, and we'd like to see the sector flourish, and we'd like to expand on various issues. Some of them being greater production of red meats and proteins, and they were looking at grains on legs. There are issues in terms of getting production of wheat back into the Free State, which can also bring some alleviation in terms of the production that we're seeing and moving and reducing the stock levels, and some initiatives around that, and John's mentioned the tariff, etc. We need to get through this, and we'll get through this together, and that's the message we want to convey. It's a multifaceted approach. There's no one silver bullet that's gonna move this. We simply won't move 3 million stock tomorrow in terms of the surplus maize, and there are various facets to this to enable our producers to be sustainable in the long run to get through it.
Ja nee, baie interessant nee, maar daar is nog meer. Ons luister nou na Daniel Helou, hy is van Biogénesis Bagó en hy gaan ons inlig oor BKS-entstowwe. Kom ons luister.
Hello, my name is Daniel Helou. I am the Regional Director of Biogénesis Bagó. Biogénesis Bagó, just a small brief of Biogénesis Bagó. Biogénesis Bagó is one of the oldest laboratories in Latin America and the biggest laboratory in Latin America. We focus on biologicals, and so this means we focus on vaccine production, and we are the main manufacturing of FMD vaccine all worldwide. We cover all the globe from Latin America, going all through Africa, Middle East, Asia, and well, almost all the globe, because Australia and others are, free of FMD. Also, we, as a manufacturing, we are an antigen bank for a lot of countries that are free of FMD, like Canada, USA, Thailand, Taiwan, and etc. So we are here in South Africa because we saw the crisis that South Africa is suffering, and we knew that we are the one that can provide the solution on time and on volume wise to to help South Africa to get over this crisis.
So currently, Namibia does not have an FMD outbreak, but the advice from South Africa at this moment is, even though we have good measures in place to contain an outbreak, should it come across the border, we should still be looking into vaccination. What is that process from your side to get vaccinations to Namibia, to get Namibia vaccinated against it?
Okay, so Namibia is very particular case and very challenging case also, because Namibia managed to be, free without vaccination and handle, very well their livestock. The issue is, the challenging issue is you are totally surrounded by all outbreak all everywhere. So how to control this and control that the virus do not spread to your country? This is very difficult. This is airborne virus which can fly more than 50 kilometers. It can be in everywhere. So it is difficult. So one of the solutions that Biogénesis Bagó has is antigen bank. What is antigen bank? Antigen bank meaning that we can concentrate, a small quantity, not small quantity, the needed quantity of antigen under 100 minus 150 degrees for 10 years of shelf life, totally validated. And in any emergency, we can provide you the vaccine in less than 7 days. This is the good solution that Namibia can adopt. Like a lot of other countries, they are free without vaccination, but they need to protect themselves in case they have any outbreak.
So tell me a little bit about how your vaccine is being used in South Africa and what results you've seen so far.
Okay, so now the vaccine is flowing to South Africa. We already this Sunday will be like finishing the delivery of 6 million doses of vaccines, which is for us was totally challenging because it was in so short notice and times to produce the vaccine and deliver to us. But South Africa for us was one of the most important country. And also there are a lot of similarity between South Africa and Argentina. We are south-south, both of us agricultures, both of us producer of meat and exporter of meat. Namibia also the same. So we saw it like a personal challenge for us. So we are right now delivering the vaccine. The big challenge that they have now, South Africa, is the how they can speed up the vaccination process, because only you can stop the outbreak if you get the herd immunity, and will be when you vaccinate the 50% of your herds. So right now I think the bottleneck is how to speed up all the vaccination process. Our vaccines are ready to go. We are producing under our own risk to have all the vaccine needed for South Africa, but we need, we guess, and we are pushing and we support the process of private-public association to help, overcome this crisis.
And then lastly, you've also been meeting with government officials in Namibia. Are you able to shed some light on those meetings?
Yes, I can share part of this. I can assure you that the Namibia government is really very aware about the situation and also is worried about the situation. That's why they are searching for a solution that can, avoid them, the crisis that South Africa unfortunately is living. So it makes me know something. It's very hard for the government. It's politically and economically a big hit to just change from status to another status. It's not easy, when you are free without vaccination and you have all market open for you. Just change your status and suddenly you have 50% of your market closed. So this is a big issue, and you have to make a very good risk assessment. And I think Namibia's government right now is under this risk assessment in order to, took the best solution. And lucky for us, they called us. We are, specialists in attending emergency to, to give them our support and to be ready to help whenever they need it.
En ons almal amper tot by die einde van hierdie week vanaf my Ogito Greik en Saraya mentor agter die skerms hier wens ons julle almal 'n voorspoedige Vrydag en 'n baie gesellige naweek wat voorlê. Tot volgende week wanneer ons weer by mekaar kan saamkom, weer lekker saam klets en weer mekaar kan vermaak op Kletskompas. Tot dan, totsiens.